Can you hear me? Yay! Hi, Livestream. Odie here. I have 40 seconds before we have to start. Oh no. Oh no. Oh no. But I do need to go get a soda quick. I'll be right back. Your microphones work. Your speakers are turned on. Oh no. Yes. Now we can begin. So that's what happens when it hits 0. It just says 0. Very cool. Hip hip hooray. Well, everybody, tonight our first game. Welcome to youth group, by the way. I'm Odie. This is my house. You've seen my messy house this whole time. And, yeah. The internet seems much better at my house. I don't know what's wrong with the church. But a couple of announcements. We're going to play a dumb game tonight. And then we're going to go to our Zoom groups. All the Zoom group links are in the bottom, in the description. So check those out. Yeah. And once again, we have a dumb text message game for this evening. This one's called Blur Emojis. So we'll give it a couple of minutes before people actually show up. But this will be our first game for this evening. Kirsten, how are we doing today? If you guys don't know, Kirsten is here. She is my executive producer and all-around awesome assistant. She'll be manning the text message lines tonight and typing to you in chat. How's the chat going?
Great.
Let Kirsten know if you're here by saying hello in chat. She seems super enthusiastic about it. I can't see the chat, unfortunately, unless she tells me about it, because we don't have a monitor set up like we did last week. We should get that going, though. I need a big monitor so I can see what people are saying. Definitely. Cool. So the way this game works is I'm going to put up a blurry picture of two emojis. Two of them. And I'm going to progressively make them clearer and clearer. And if you're the first one to text message Kirsten, and
Do we have the number?
here's the number right here. If you're the first one to correctly identify one of the two, so it's really hard sometimes, so you don't have to get them both. Just do one of them. And text it to Kirsten with what you think it is. Either send the emoji or send a description of what the emoji is. That's clear enough that she thinks you win. She'll tell me that you win, and then hooray! Cool. So we'll do an easy one first. All right. It's not too hard. Two emojis on the screen. Text Kirsten when you think you know what they are. Getting a little bit clearer. Not real fast though, is it? Oh. There's two of them. Clearer still. It's getting really clear now. Stream is really slow, isn't it? Can you see the stream?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Oh my word. We're all coming in. Taylor.
Did Taylor get it first? Which one did Taylor say?
She said both.
She got both of them. Great job, Taylor. Well done. That will be the only easy one. From here on out, they're going to be in different shapes and different places. They're going to be different sizes, and they're going to be on top of each other and stuff. So let's go to the next one. Any guesses? Make it a little clearer. That didn't really help, did it?
To see or delete your assistant activity, open the Google Home app. In the top right, tap the account icon, then tap My Activity. To delete an activity, tap the three-dot menu, then tap Delete.
Ladies and gentlemen, that was my Google Home. Google Home, please be quiet. All right, let's check this. Getting clearer. Getting clearer still. Any guesses yet? Not yet, huh? There's like a 5-second delay probably, isn't there?
Yeah.
Anybody? Did nobody get this one? Did everybody just bail when you started hearing my Google Home go crazy?
Someone got it, but I don't know who it is.
Oh, you gotta actually also include your name. I'm sorry, because Kirsten doesn't have your numbers. I'm sorry. We should have included that like we did last week, huh?
Christina.
Christina, great job. I'm so proud of you. Which one did she get? Did she get the grape?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Did anybody get the frog? I want to know. I want to know.
Someone got it after the fact, I think.
Yeah, somebody after the fact so they could see it. All right, we'll do another one. What could it be? It's like two rosy cheeks. These first three don't really help, do they? But then it gets a little better. It's coming into focus now. I feel like you can get it from here. Let's see if anybody gets it from here. One's easy and one's hard. Make it a little easier. Another clue. Any luck?
Taylor again.
Taylor again. Did you get both of them?
She got pizza.
She got pizza. Does anybody want to try to get the other one? Taylor is kicking your butts. I don't know what it is, but our leaders are always better at the games than our students are.
Nobody has the other one yet.
I'll leave it here for a second before we really get there. Great job, Taylor, by the way.
And Taylor got the squid.
And Taylor got the squid. All right. Taylor's quick with the text messaging, apparently. This one, maybe not so easy. We'll try this one. All right, you guys should see it now. A little easier. A little bit easier. Slowly becoming easier. There's two of them there, though. Christina, again. Well done. Anybody got the second one? The harder one? Nobody got the robot?
No.
Oh, he does blend in. I can see it. All right, this next one's going to be a little bit trickier. You'll think it's one thing, but it might be something different.
Your dad did get us rainbow.
Oh, good job, Dad. You got rainbow. Little trickier. Little trickier. I'm going to leave it right there and see what people say it is. Take a guess. Is it an upside down pink-headed person with baggy pants? Is it a paintbrush?
Somebody got it. Christina.
Christina, which one she get?
The hat.
Oh, the hat person.
Someone else got it too. Taylor.
Yeah, it's the hat person with the mouth underneath. Looks a little bit like a weird pink body he has. All right, this one's got two of them, and we're gonna say that to win you have to get both of them on this one. All right, you have to get both of them. We'll leave it there for a moment and see how you do. This game does not take very long at all, does it? Well, we're learning. We're learning all kinds of new things here. Nobody got anything yet, huh?
Nope.
Try one more. A little harder. A little clearer. That was really dumb, wasn't it? I apologize to everyone involved. A little clearer. Nothing yet, huh? Wow. Because I said you have to get both of them, isn't it?
Someone's got to get it.
Someone's got to get it now. It looks a little bit like the Mr. Spock hands, doesn't it? That's not an emoji, but it does look like the live long and prosper thing that I can't do, but Steve can do. Did we get one? Don't forget. Christina again.
And Taylor.
And Taylor again. You guys are like my emoji masters. All right, we'll do one more. Again, I need both of them this time. You know, I'm just going to leave it there for a minute. That's enough. It's close. Close enough. Christina, Taylor, one of you guys has to get it this time. I know you do.
Taylor got one right, but not the second one.
So Taylor's gotten one, but not the other. Taylor got one of them, but not the other one. Let's see if she can get the other one.
Oh, hold on.
Oh.
Hold on.
Oh.
Your dad.
Did my dad win this one?
He did.
Dad got it. How? That's amazing, Dad. Well done and completely unexpected. Especially because this is your first iPhone and it's old. Well done, Dad. I can't believe my dad won a round of emoji guess. That's so fantastic. So we have a bunch of extra time, much more time than I expected. We'll be going to our Zoom groups at 7:45. And before I do the lesson, because I kept the lesson really short and quick, let's do something in the chat real quick. If you're in the chat right now, or you can text that number again, we'll do an AMA, and Ask Me Anything. We'll be me in the hot seat. You can ask me any question you want, and I'll answer it completely honestly, unless Kirsten vetoes it for me. So go ahead and ask questions. Yay! This would be better with music, but like we'll immediately get shut down by YouTube if we do music. I need a kazoo.
Yes.
I don't know how to play your banjo. Kirsten is learning to play the banjo, which I think is fantastic. Any questions at all? Nothing?
Not yet. Oh, wait. Favorite cartoon?
Favorite cartoon? That's really hard because I really like cartoons. When I was a little kid, it was Thundercats. And now it's probably South Park. But you shouldn't watch that because you're too young. Correct.
Where is Rex?
Where is Rex? Rex is hidden behind me. Give me one moment. Rex runs from me immediately as soon as I look at him. Give me 1 second and I'll get him. Come here. Oh no! Rex is very, very, very not happy with us right now because I picked him up. What's that? All right.
Someone said your sideburns are looking a little faded.
They're.
You got a haircut.
I just got a haircut, so they're a little thinner than they usually are. I'm also getting old and gray. No, not really. I have gray nose hairs, but I don't have any gray beard hairs yet.
Aaron wants to know how many people have you got within 6 feet of you today?
Today, just you. Just Kirsten today.
Joe Bro wants to know your favorite song.
My favorite song? Man, I don't know. I don't even know what my favorite song this week is. I haven't listened to any music yet today. Sorry, Joe. I got nothing for you.
Christina asks, how was your day?
How was my day? Kind of boring, just like everybody else's. We did get this set up though, and the internet is much, much better. Give Kirsten a clap in the text in the chat if you think the internet is much better at my house than it is at the church.
What kind of bear is best?
Bears beats Battlestar Galactica?
Yes.
Yeah, thought so.
Favorite animal?
Big fan of the platypus. Owls and ravens, too.
Mason Torok. If you could make the earth into a shape of a fruit, what fruit would you pick?
Oh, obviously banana. Obviously banana. I don't understand if anybody would pick anything else. Unless you pick something like cantaloupe or honeydew, which would be round like it is now, but with a weird texture to it.
How many straws can you fit up your nose?
I don't know. Probably 4? I'm guessing I could get 2 per nostril. My nostrils are big, but not huge. Do they have to stay?
Why the heck are there so many cars at your house on Monday?
Why were there so many cars in my house on Monday? Like, all the neighbors park in front of my house. I really just have my truck. And sometimes Kirsten's little gray SUV.
Favorite type of cookie?
Oh, Thin Mint Girl Scout cookies are amazing, but I will die if I eat too many of them. Underrated but very good are the white chocolate macadamia nut cookies. I used to work in a bakery. I've eaten a lot of cookies in my life. Too many. All right, Kirsten, give me 2 more.
Okay. Your dad wants to know if you ate dinner.
I did eat dinner. I had beans and rice. That we made too spicy and we had to add other things to it.
What is the shortest job you've ever had?
Shortest job I've ever had.
No, what's the shortest? Yeah.
Yeah. Length of time. I could say that I used to work for my dad and get fired every other day, but that wouldn't be fair, even though it's true. I don't know. I feel like I've had jobs that I've gone to and decided like during the orientation process that I just wasn't coming back the next day. I think I've had jobs like that. I can't remember if I have or not though. I've had a lot of jobs. A lot of jobs. Okay, one extra one Kirsten is going to give me.
Did you ever staple any part of your body to the wall?
Did I ever staple any part of my body to a wall? I have actually stapled my thumb to a wall one time. This thumb. I was putting up insulation in the house that my mom and dad were building. And I was in high school. And my sister must have sent this question in because she's the only one who was there. And I stapled my thumb to the wall and had a minor freak out until our grandfather came, acted like it was nothing, told me to look over there, and pulled it out of my finger. It was awesome. I had a hole in my thumbnail for like weeks. All right, that's enough of that. We're going to move into the lesson for tonight, which is worth it. So we just came out of a big teaching time, a 4-week session called Doubt It, where we talked about how God is all right with our questions and God is okay with our doubts. And now we're going to move into this Easter season with a 2-week teaching on worth it. And it's going to seem like they go together because they really do. We have all these difficult things in our life, and especially right now our lives are crazy uncertain, and there's a lot of doubt about what's true and not true. There's a lot of questions about what's gonna happen after this. All of you guys who are high school seniors, you're left in this really crazy place, and my heart really goes out for you guys. But we're going to talk about all the different ways that doubt and Easter kind of go together, and tonight we're going to talk about specifically suffering. So what is suffering? Suffering is pain or the state or experience of one who suffers. Suffering implies conscious endurance of pain or distress. Suffering is a kind of pain that keeps going on, that keeps bothering you. And some of our suffering is huge and big. Some of us have lost people this past year. Some of us have had big relationships crumble and fall apart. Some of us have had sickness that we have currently faced. And some of us are suffering with the anxiety that sickness is going to come into our lives with this quarantine thing. But some of us also suffer in little ways. Some of you have had a really rough year at school. You have a class that's just really difficult. Or some of you are having a really rough patch in your relationships. You're not getting along with your parents. You're not getting along with your siblings. You're not getting along with the people in your life that you want to get along with. Or you have old friends who have kind of turned on you and not been so good of friends anymore. And they're kind of giving you a hard time at school, or they were while we were there. Some of you are probably really re-examining all of your relationships now that we're all separated and keeping 6 feet apart. We all suffer in a lot of ways, but one of the ways that all suffering is the same is that it's exhausting. Many of you guys are probably extra tired right now, even though you're not doing much during the day. You're probably sleeping in longer and you're probably staying up later, but you're probably feeling tired all the time. This quarantine has been exhausting. It's a form of suffering that we're all experiencing together. Well, it might surprise you to know that Jesus suffered too. And just like Jesus' suffering, he had the same kind of questions that suffering raises in us. When we suffer through things, we wonder, is this really what God's plan is? Is this really how things are supposed to go? We struggle with a lot of the questions that we went over during the doubt series. We seriously doubt God because of our suffering. And maybe if it's a quick thing, we don't really doubt God, but the longer it goes on, or the bigger it is, and the more anxiety we have about it, the more we question and the more we doubt, and the more our suffering is tied intimately with doubt. And so Easter's coming up, and in the days before the Easter thing happened, Jesus had a lot going on in his life. If you want to read all about it, you can read it in Matthew 26. We're going to go there in a second for just a little chunk of it. But first, Jesus got his friends together and they had the Last Supper, the upper room where they got together and Jesus had one big meal. It's where we get the communion thing that a lot of churches celebrate. And during that dinner, one of his best friends, a guy named Judas, went off and he betrayed Jesus to the authorities who were planning on how to get rid of Jesus. So Judas went off and betrayed his friend and his teacher, Jesus. And Jesus knew he was going to do it. So while he was gone betraying Jesus, Jesus went to a garden called Gethsemane to pray. And that's the section we're going to read. After the garden, Judas came and with a kiss betrayed his friend Jesus. And Jesus was taken and arrested. And he was beaten all night long. In the morning, they jammed a crown of thorns on his head and they made him carry basically a log through the city, and they strung him up on a cross, and that's where he died. And the entire experience is really, really terrible. And the worst part about it was that Jesus knew it was coming. How do we know this? Because this is what we're going to talk about tonight. This is Matthew 26, 36 through 39. Then Jesus went with his disciples to a place called Gethsemane, the garden I mentioned earlier. And he said to them, sit here while I go over to there and I pray. And he took Peter and the two sons of Zebedee, which were James and John, kind of his close little circle, the people he trusted the most in the 12 disciples. He took them along with him deeper in, and he began to be sorrowful and troubled. We don't usually think about Jesus being sorrowful or troubled or scared or anxious about things, but he said to them, my soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death. Stay here and keep watch with me. We see here that Jesus is really anxious. Jesus is really broken up. Something is wrong. And if you were Peter, James, or John, you probably were really confused by this. You had seen Jesus walk on water and heal lepers. You had seen Jesus calm a storm because it disrupted his sleep. And here, you see him sorrowful, troubled, filled with anxiety, anxious. overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death, he says. So he leaves Peter, James, and John there, and he goes farther in, and he fell with his face to the ground. He didn't sit and pray. He didn't kneel and pray. He fell with his face in the dirt, and he prayed, "My Father, if it is possible, may this cup be taken from me. Yet not as I will, but as you will." Jesus knew what was coming when he was getting ready to die on the cross. He knew the suffering he was going to endure, and he had already begun to experience it. He knew Judas was out betraying him at that moment, one of his closest friends, his trusted 12. And he knew how much pain and difficulty it was going to be, and he knew how hard it was going to be for the people around him to see him like that. And what he really asks is this worth it, God? Is this pain I'm going to endure, this difficulty, this betrayal, is it worth it? And the answer is yes. It's yes because you are worth it. We like to think about this in a really abstract way, but you need to make this personal. You need to understand that the terrible things that Jesus suffered at Easter on Good Friday, he suffered for all of humanity, but specifically for you. If you were the only person he was going to save, he still would have gone through and done all of it, no question asked. All of the pain and suffering that Jesus wanted to get out of, he knew it was worth it because you are worth it. And that's maybe the most important piece of the Easter story, that you are more important to him than everything else. The King of the universe gave up everything and let himself be killed in a humiliating, painful, and difficult way just to have a relationship with you once again. We go from here into another piece of scripture. After Jesus died and rose again, a guy we think named Paul, somebody, wrote the book of Hebrews. And he talks about Jesus. He talks about Jesus as our high priest. Now, for us here in modern America, under this quarantine, we don't really understand what having a high priest is like. We have pastors in our churches, but that's not quite the same thing as a Jewish priest. A Jewish priest would perform sacrifices on the behalf of the people. And these sacrifices happened in order to make up for sin. And one of the most important parts about Jesus' death on the cross was it evened out the ledger. It balanced the scale so that God no longer had to condemn us. Jesus himself, as our high priest, was our sacrifice. And the author of Hebrews wants us to understand that he understands our suffering. Jesus, our high priest, understands our suffering. It says this: we have a great high priest who has gone into heaven, and he is Jesus, the Son of God. That is why we must hold on to what we have said about him. Jesus understands every weakness of ours because he was tempted in every way that we are, but he did not sin. Let me read that again. Jesus understands every weakness of ours. If you're here today and you're feeling scared or anxious, if you're feeling bored and tempted, if you're feeling uncertain, if you're feeling anxiety, if you're feeling frustration with your family that are stuck with you and that you are stuck with, Jesus understands all of those things. If you have a friend who's turned their back on you, if you've had loss or heartache in this past year, Jesus understands that weakness. Whenever we are in need, we should come bravely before the throne of our merciful God. There we will be treated with undeserved kindness, and we will find help. In these times of uncertainty, and these times when we have doubt, we need to hold on, just like it says here. Hold on to what we have said about him. We need to hold on to what we know about Jesus. Because he's worth it too. He understands our suffering. He understands our difficulty. He has been betrayed by people. He was put to the death on behalf of people. He was innocent and persecuted unrighteously. But for all of our doubt, for all of our questions about whether or not God is good in the moment, we need to hold on because Jesus is worth it too. He is a high priest who stands before God on our behalf, understanding all of our pain. And that verse in Hebrews tells us that he understands our suffering and that he is working on our behalf. Now, how that plays out in our life is different in every different situation. But he is trying desperately to give us the power we need to hold on and the strength we need. So we should ask him boldly and without fear for the things that we need. In moments of temptation, we ask him for strength. In moments of doubt, we ask him for faith. In moments of hurt, we ask him to help us forgive and to heal us. When we're sick, we ask for healing. And when we feel alone, we ask him to be with us. And that's what this season is all about. A recognizing and a celebration that despite all of the difficulty, all of the pain in this world, we serve and we love and we have a relationship with a God who has been there himself and stands there with us. He does not leave us alone in these difficult times, but he stays with us, strengthening us and encouraging us. And that's what I want to end with tonight, that Jesus is a guy who suffered. And whether your suffering is big or little, whether your suffering is extreme or it's just a nuisance, Jesus suffers alongside of you. And so we should feel free to turn to him with everything that we need, with every doubt that we have, and discuss it with him. In a moment, we're going to have our small groups start. I know I finished a little early, and that's probably okay. At 7:45, if not sooner, our small groups are going to start. And we're going to talk in our small groups. I want you guys to talk about the things you're suffering through and explore those ideas together. Because one of the best things for suffering is knowing that other people are alongside of us, understanding what we're feeling, and so that we're not going through these things alone. Youth group, I love you, and I'm glad that tonight worked out a whole lot better. Stay safe, wash your hands, don't touch your face, and keep 6 feet apart from everybody when you go out so that this can be over as soon as possible. I can't wait to see you guys again, all right? Have a great night, guys. Peace out.